GCSE Power Hour. So if we first look at the exam dates, here are the exam dates for the English Language GCSE exams. Paper 1 is Thursday the 21st of May and Paper 2 is Friday the 5th of June. For English Lit, Paper 1 is Monday the 11th of May and Paper 2 is Tuesday the 19th. And for Maths, Paper 1 is Thursday the 14th of May, Paper 2 is Wednesday the 3rd of June and Paper 3 is Wednesday the 10th of June. For all of these exams as well, I'll be offering more revision classes, more booster classes, and also more one-to-one classes. So if you're interested, send me a message and we can sort something out. The class schedule for these GCSE Power Hour classes is for today. We're going to do a little intro and an English Language Paper 1 overview. Next week, we're going to look at Paper 1, Question 2 and Question 3. The week after, we look at Question 4, then Question 5. Then we'll be doing a past paper together and a Paper 2 overview. Then the week after, we'll be looking at Paper 2, Question 2 and Question 3. After that, we'll be looking at Question 4 and Question 5 and then doing a past paper. After that, all of our English language revision will be completed. Then on the 22nd of November, we'll be looking at Maths number, then Maths algebra, then trigonometry. We'll be doing foundation and higher. And we will also be doing the rest of the maths topics, and then after that we'll be looking at sciences, but I'll make a schedule for all of that for you guys as well. All of these classes that we do together will be recorded and posted on YouTube for revision purposes if you can't attend or if you'd like to look over the slides again. So you can access PowerPoint and the slides after the class. You all have my number as well if you'd like any extra help, any extra revision or some more questions or something like that. This is the YouTube channel as well if you guys would like to subscribe and have some more help by watching the videos. Let's have a look at the English Language Paper 1 overview. So what's inside the paper? So an overview of Paper 1 as a whole. Paper 1 is 1 hour 45 minutes and you have 5 questions with 80 marks in total. Question 1 to Question 4 is Section A, which consists of 40 marks. This is the reading section, where your main skills you have to learn are retrieval, language, structure, and evaluation, and we'll build on these skills together in the classes. Question 5 is Section B, which is 40 marks on its own. This is the writing section, where you have to either choose between writing a description or writing a story. I would recommend splitting your time between Section A, spending an hour there, and Section B, spending 45 minutes there. The best tip I would give for Question 5 is Question 5 alone is 25% of the paper. So I would recommend planning, writing, and most important one, proofreading your answer, because that will help you get loads of marks when you're focusing on your SPAG, your organisation, and if your structure is right in Question 5. If we look at Paper 1, Question 1. Paper 1, Question 1 is worth 4 marks, so I would recommend spending about 5 minutes on this question. You have to list 4 things from a specific part of the text, and the skill you have to focus on here is just retrieval, so you don't need any analysis for this question. I would recommend writing in full sentences, but keeping your answers short, clear, and to the point. And a tip I would give is to stick to the lines given. Don't wander outside. So I would say if the exam question said, look at lines 1 to 5, draw a box around that text so you don't look anywhere else. Paper 1, Question 2 is 8 marks and I would recommend spending about 10 minutes. So your task is to analyse how language is used to create effects. The skill you have to learn here is zooming in on specific words, phrases and language techniques and using short quotes to explain the impact on the reader. The best tip I would give here is that 2 to 3 detailed paragraphs is enough. So if your analysis is on point and you're writing about the effect on the reader, 2 to 3 paragraphs is more than enough. We'll work on looking at the impact on the reader in these classes as well. Paper 1, Question 3 is 8 marks, so I would again recommend spending about 10 minutes on this question. The task you have to learn here is analysing the structure of the extract and focusing on what the writer chooses to show and when. You should mention the shifts, for example, the shifts in setting, character, perspective, or the tension, and look at the effect on the reader. Why has the writer put a shift there in the specific section? Paper 1, Question 4 is worth 20 marks, so I would recommend spending about 20 to 25 minutes here. The task you have to do is respond to a statement about the text. So there'll be a statement and it will say, to what extent do you agree? You have to give your own view on the statement. So you have to either agree or disagree, but usually I'd recommend doing both. You have to support your answer with evidence from the text and analyze what the quotes are saying. So you have to look at the language and the structure. And my tip here is to aim for 3 or 4 well-developed paragraphs where you're arguing both sides of the text. Paper 1, question 5 is worth 40 marks, and that is 25% of your whole exam. This is a creative writing question where you have to either write about a description or a story. You can choose between both options. The skills tested here are imagination, organisation, and SPAG, which we'll work on in these classes. The best tip I would say here is if you master question 5, that's a big grade boost, because this question can either bring your whole grade up or bring it down, but we'll work on bringing it up together in these classes. If you've got any questions before we start practicing, put them down in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Alright then, so we're going to practice question 1 in this class today. So if we have a little read of this extract, then we'll have a go at answering this question. The extract says, at the corner of Oxford Circus, Rosabelle bought a bunch of violets, and that was practically the reason why she had so little tea. For a scone and a boiled egg and a cup of cocoa are not sufficient after a hard day's work in a hat shop. As she swung on the step of the bus, grabbed her skirt with one hand and clung to the railing with the other, Rosabelle thought she would have sacrificed her soul for a good dinner, something hot and strong and filling. Question 1 then says, read again the first part of the source from lines 1 to 5. List 4 things about Rosabelle from this part of the source. So when I've put this extract here, I've purposely just screenshotted lines 1 to 5. So you have to list 4 things from any part of this extract here. So what I'll do is I'll give you 1 minute to have a go at answering this question yourself. So you guys pause the video and press play when you're ready to check the answers. Alright, if you guys are ready to share the answers, then we'll have a look. These are the answers I found. If you guys have found different ones, put them down in the comments and I'll check if they're correct and we'll mark them together. But the first thing I wrote is Rosabelle bought a bunch of violets. We can see that because it says it very clearly here. Rosabelle bought a bunch of violets. Next one I wrote down was Rosabelle felt like she would have sacrificed her soul for a good dinner, which is what it says here. Rosabelle thought she would have sacrificed her soul for a good dinner. After that, I put Rosabelle works in a hat shop, which is said over here. For a scone and a boiled egg and a cup of cocoa are not sufficient after a hard day's work in a hat shop. After that, I wrote Rosabelle ate a scone, boiled egg and a cup of cocoa, which is what it says here. For a scone, a boiled egg and a cup of cocoa are not sufficient after a hard day's work in a hat shop. The best thing I would say here is start your answer with the focus of the question. So the question here was 4 things about Rosabelle. Start each thing with Rosabelle, 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 and try to write answers that are clear in the extract. So for example, the bunch of violets was clear here. Okay? If you guys have any other questions, put them down in the comments and we'll work on them together. I'll see you guys next time then. Bye bye.